welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to 12 Man. We're back. Their normal routine of 2 a week. I've recovered from illness. Owen's still getting over illness as well, which is why he hasn't been on the channel the last couple of weeks. And unfortunately, Owen mightn't be feeling much better after we talk about tonight's topics, because Owen sits here before you tonight for the first time. I looked at it today since October the 3rd, which was a Tuesday as well, ironically. And that was the last time we were talking about a Liverpool Premier League defeat. And we're now Tuesday, the 6th of February.
Another one in London too, for God's sake.
Or North London. I don't think they're making any complaints this time about the result, and we'll be asking Owen, and obviously the viewers feel free to join in as well. We'll be looking back at Arsenal's win over Liverpool, how dominant it was, if Liverpool fans should be worried, if Arsenal are back in the title race, has Arteta proven it can compete with Klopp and Pep and the big games this season. We'll be looking at them celebrations. A lot of talk, was it over the top? Should we be praising them for a big one? We'll be getting into that. We'll be looking back, of course, at last night's Man City's performance against Brentford, where Foden had a hat-trick. Are they the title favourites? Are Arsenal and Liverpool in a race for second, really? I'm sure Owen doesn't think so, but that's what we're looking at. We're also going to do Liverpool play Man City on the 10th of Sunday, the 10th of March. We're going to look at Liverpool's, Man City and Arsenal's games up until that weekend, and including that weekend, we'll also look at Arsenal's game. They play Brentford that weekend, so we're going to look at what is coming up between the teams between now and the 10th of March. And we'll look back at the rest of the weekend's results. Where Spurs dropped points at Everton after conceding late. Chelsea smashed by Wolves at home. United on a bit of a run now. Can the top four? Is that still in reach? Amongst many other topics that I'm sure will pop up on between. So, Owen, great to have you with us. I hope you're feeling better. I suppose you haven't been on your YouTube channel, so you'll be hoping to get back to that this week, I would have thought.
I'm getting there on the recovery point. Obviously, the result on all good Q. The result on Sunday didn't do me no favors, but sure, what can you do? That's a football team. Just as you speak about the Man City game, why was that moved at 4:45 kickoff? That's a random one.
Something to do with the police. I think they wanted it earlier, but that was the sort of. I think they wanted it around 3 o'clock. And
I thought they had like an hour game on it. They wanted or something.
No, I think it was to do with police are getting involved with a lot of these fixtures. That's why the League Cup final was moved to 3 o'clock from 4:30. And I think very similar, they wanted this game at 3. I think the Premier League met them in the middle. Obviously, the game was originally 4:30. That's the usual Sunday kickoff time for the second game, but they've agreed on 4:45. Not sure how much difference that makes, or they might catch a few people out. But to be honest, there'll be that much coverage during the game. I think it'll be pretty difficult for people to get mixed up in kickoff times. But we'll start with a big story. It was a big game going on the weekend. Me, Stefan, and Darren were doing a lot of previewing around the game. There was a lot of banter going around. Stefan stuck his chest out, to be fair to him. And in the end, Arsenal, I mean, they didn't just win one. It was kind of what Stefan said it would be, and they did dominate the game. Bar maybe a 5 or 10 minute spell at the start of the second half. It was all Arsenal. I mean, Liverpool weren't at their best. I mean, how would you describe Sunday's game? Now you've had sort of 48 hours to come around from it.
Just as you said, Arsenal deserved the win. Like there's no getting around it. We weren't at our best, and I think I said to you after the match, it was the first time with Salah not being there that I really noticed it. I think, and Nunez not being on too didn't help. I don't think. I actually looked at our record today. We've lost every game he hasn't started.
Nunez?
No. I think, but...
Come on, about 35 minutes to go, but he didn't really have much of an impact, did he?
I think, to be fair, as we say, Arsenal fairly dominated the game, like, from start to finish. Obviously, our equaliser was a bit of a freak, but I can't remember us having too much...
Do you think it was a classic case of a team that needed to win and a team that didn't want to lose? And was that the mindset going into the game? Do you think Liverpool were kind of going there thinking, just don't lose today and we're in a great position? Or do you think in their heads they would have been going there to win? What do you think the Liverpool mindset would have been? Because we heard from Arteta before the game. He was basically saying we have to win this game if we're going to win the league. And Arsenal played it like it was a cup final. Liverpool, to me, it doesn't seem like it was a cup final for them.
No, but you would like to think Liverpool go on to every game, no matter the circumstances, wanting to win. But Arsenal just wanted it more, and it showed on the pitch in the day. And after they hold my hands up, I was very impressed with Arsenal on the day. Like, I thought they battered us from power to post, apart from the 10 minutes at the start of the second half. I think the midfield battle was won fairly by Arsenal. We made Jorginho look like the Ballon d'Or winner. Like he was unreal. I actually our midfield just wasn't great. We missed Sabitzer and Jones is Jones has been good this season, but I think I would be concerned about Gravenberch. He hasn't hit the ground running at all for me.
I agree with what you're saying there. Yeah, Dean agrees. Performance wasn't good enough from Liverpool. Not a shot on target in the first half. Arsenal did play well, but celebrations over the top. I agree with Kjarger. It's very not me, and we will speak about them celebrations in a bit. I thought that was the biggest difference between the two teams on the day was midfield. One team was getting on the ball and playing. Every time Arsenal's back four had the ball, they had options in midfield. Liverpool didn't have them options. Jones and Gravenberch at the start were too high. You could possibly say that was tactical from Klopp. He tried to fix that in the second half. But I just didn't see enough bravery from Gravenberch, from Jones. McAllister wasn't playing on the half turn. Like if you look at the difference between Jorginho's performance and McAllister, it was night and day. Rice and Jones and Gravenberch and Odegaard, the Arsenal midfield was three there. I don't know everyone cannot play well for Arsenal, but them three in particular in midfield were excellent. They were all 8 out of 10 performances. Where Liverpool, Gravenberch hasn't done it, as you say. Apart from maybe the odd flashy bit in the Europa League, we haven't seen enough from him. Jones, I think has been good this year. Maybe had an off day, and McAllister's been playing pretty well.
To be fair to
injury, but didn't play well in this game. But it does beg the question: McAllister's position against the best team, one of the better teams in Arsenal. He was found out in that position, wasn't he?
We have Endo coming back now. He should be back at the weekend, and you'll be happy that Son will be back early too because they got knocked out today as well. So, no, I'm sure when Endo comes back, he'll take our position, and I would say, Sabitzer are injured again now, so I would say McAllister will be going into the number 8 role. I would
Do
say.
you think it's a bit of a wake up call for Liverpool fans, possibly Klopp, the coaches, the overall club, that the squad depth just isn't good enough? Whilst they've been doing really, really well this year, maybe results, some of their better players being available for most of the seasons, papered over. Taking out maybe the first 13 or 14 players, the likes of Gravenberch, McAllister having to play as a 6. I think McAllister's a very good player, maybe not in that role against the better teams. Trent wasn't fit. It was obvious he wasn't fit. It worked against them with Bradley. It's probably the first time, the whole Bradley thing was a freak, has far passed away, which we have to say, thoughts and prayers with the family. But, even that wee bit of bad luck going against Liverpool, going to such a bad game, it's probably the first time this season where things have started to go against them. For most of the season, they've had all their big main players fit, bar Robertson, who's been the one long term. Everyone else who's been injured, maybe just 1 or 2 games back into the team. They've had a sustained period since the turn of the year with a lot of their main players unavailable.
Like, I don't think it's a problem with squad depth because we've been doing that. We've been bringing on players like Elliott and Gravenberch, and they've been doing okay. And you have to remember, Liverpool fans can't go over the top here as well. We've lost 1 game, we've lost 2 games all season. So I wouldn't be getting too bummed down. But in this game, it did show that we didn't have Salah, we didn't even Endo to an extent, and obviously Van Dijk and Alisson decided they probably have their worst games in a Liverpool shirt. Alisson always has a game in him like that, but I was very surprised that, especially the second goal. Like, I don't know what they were doing there. There was just no communication at all, and I thought, up until that point, we were getting back into the game.
Callum's a couple of comments here. Arteta was embarrassing, but if anything, it showed the pressure they felt going on it. Celebrated like the title was being handed out. Long way to go yet. And he's saying Gravenberch nowhere near the level. How we bought Szoboszlai and him on the same window as madness or pull off the players. And I mean, that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? That Szoboszlai now looks to be out for at least, we're hearing, 5 or 6 weeks.
Actually, I think there's sort of mixed reports on that. Some are saying it's only 2 or 3. Some are saying it's 5 or 6. So,
I seen today he's unlikely to play in February at all.
So we'll see what happens there.
But it's worrying because me and Callum were speaking about this last night, that he pointed out that Liverpool don't really have any cover on that right side of midfield. Thiago looks to play off the left, Gravenberch off the left, Jones off the left of the 3. The only other one I can think is Trent. Or does he play McAllister maybe in there when Endo comes back? But then Callum pointed out that Trent maybe hasn't got the athleticism. Box to box, he's more of a technical player.
Right.
But I mean, Would that be a worry if Szoboszlai was missing for a number of weeks?
I mean, that's what the managers paid for, isn't it? It's they find solutions, and I we have Elliot as well that can play on the right side. I know he's not. I don't know. Elliot's a weird one. He's better off the bench, but he's a great. I
More
think
of a
he's a
drop off, isn't it? But
nah.
you seen it with Man City over the last few weeks compared to maybe Liverpool. Liverpool were missing 3 or 4 yesterday, and it really or on Sunday, and it really showed. I mean, when the midfield came out before the game, I never thought you would have any control in that game in the midfield. When I was seeing there was Gravenberch, Jones, and McAllister, I really worried for Liverpool.
I I think Gravenberch he's not started great, but you have to remember too. He's only 21. He's like other than him, our midfielders have settled well. Like I know Sabasai's been in and out with injury, McAllister's been in and out with it, but I think with him we just have to bide our time a wee bit. But at the minute with Sabasai, I would put McAllister on his position and play Endo DM. That's the way I would do it because I don't think Klopp trusts Trent to play a full midfield role.
We'll come back to talk about Liverpool in a bit. Let's speak about Arsenal, the winners of the game. I mean, had they won the game, that was a non-negotiable before the game. They had they won whatever way they could find a way to win. But I think the more impressive part of the victory, excuse me, was the way they dominated the game. Bar, as you say, maybe 10, 15 minutes in the second half when the game was maybe a wee bit flat.
Yeah.
First half, it was all Arsenal. I mean, Liverpool never had a shot on target at all, which is very unlike Liverpool. They be so I'd say blunt, but they never really got near the Arsenal goal. Bar the ball over the top in the first 20 seconds for Jota. There was a half chance for Gapco. Other than that, it was pretty much one-way traffic, and Arsenal were causing Liverpool all sorts of problems with the way they set up that box midfield. Van Dijk and Kanate didn't know already sit back and let the likes of Havertz and Odegaard have space or press them, and that left all that space in behind. I mean, it was a masterclass from Arsenal.
They played brilliantly, which you have to hold your hands up when a team beats you and deserves to beat you.
Aren't saying Arsenal were lucky.
I don't think maybe with their first goal, but or than that we didn't deserve anything from the game. But I lost my train of thought there after that comment. What was I saying? They dominated the game, but I was listening to Gary Neville too, and he was saying like if Arsenal had a killer up front, it would be 3 or 4
by half time.
And it's weird because they had all them chances in the cup game and couldn't finish, but they seemed to be able to find their shooting boots on Sunday. But I would say with 2 of the goals we sort of helped them, but you have to take your chances, and we were lucky with our equalizer, so it just goes for you and goes against you. But Arsenal, they deserve their one, but I would tell them to pipe down a wee bit.
I mean, no, that's it. I'm gonna speak about them celebrations very shortly. I mean, I think we were on here maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I asked you, was the biggest difference between City, Liverpool, and someone like Arsenal, the managers? But does yesterday's game or Sunday's game prove that Arteta can compete with Alexa Klopp and Pep in the big games? Because in 3 games this year in the league, he's won 2. He's won the 2 home games and drew away at Anfield, and they still have to go to Man City. Of course, we don't know how that's going to go next month. But it wasn't just, it was the way they beat Liverpool and Man City at home. Man City hardly had a kick as well. It was a scrappy enough game, but again, Arsenal won the game. With Man City having very limited chances. Same with Liverpool on Sunday. His tactics seem to outfox Klopp and Pep on the day. So he hasn't maybe got the trophies and the bank yet, but the signs point to Arsenal maybe have someone, a manager in these big games that is capable of going up against the world-class managers like Pep and Klopp?
I mean, he's shown, as you say, he can compete with the games already. Like he drew at Anfield, as you say, they beat Man City at home, and then they obviously beat us on Sunday. So he can compete, but I just think even though they won on Sunday, I just think Pep and Klopp are a level above him. He has a while to get there. I think for me, his temperament needs to be chilled a bit. I think he's overly emotional, and I think that will cost him in certain games.
I mean, he was told I don't know how many times by the fourth official to stay inside his box.
Are they get a yellow card? I don't know.
He wasn't just outside his box on them; he was actually standing on the pitch line numerous times, which I don't agree with. I don't think that's right. I think it's a whether he knows what he's doing or he's carried away. I would suggest he probably knows what he's doing. He's maybe trying to gain an advantage,
I
maybe
mean,
intimidating Liverpool's player. I don't know the opposition players on the day.
you can say he doesn't know what he was doing if he's doing if this is a one time thing, but he's done it numerous times. And
Emmett's saying it's about time that Arteta has been able to compete in these games because Arsenal have spent so much money. I mean, is that one thing that's maybe not looked at? That in the last 2 seasons, Arsenal have spent 500 million.
I like obviously you have to spend money to compete with teams like City and Liverpool and to be honest, United won't be as bad next season and Chelsea I don't know. So every season, every team has to improve to keep at the level and obviously next season's going to be a bit different for me because we don't know what the managerial situation is. Me and you had a long discussion about that the other night, but he's right though. They spent
Mm.
500 million, but they've spent that in the last 2 seasons, but he has nothing to show for it. He won an FA Cup, got them in the top four, but once he wins one of the big trophies, then I'll start giving him his credit.
Callum seemed to point out that it's sorry competing against City and Liverpool on a one-off game, but if you don't beat the smaller teams, they've lost 4 games this season. That won't win you a league, which is a fair point as well. I mean, let's talk about them celebrations because created a lot of debate. And I have to say, right, I have to be honest. If I had been an Arsenal fan after that game, I would have been celebrating because it was such a big game. A lot of people were writing Arsenal off as well. A lot of people were saying they're going to crumble. Liverpool's going to mop up like they did in the FA Cup, and Arsenal's going to be out of the title race. So a lot of people were tipping Liverpool. They won. There wasn't a Liverpool fan I knew that didn't fancy Liverpool winning the game. Never mind even losing the game. And the way Arsenal won the game. Surely that they were going to have a celebration. They've just got themselves back on the title race. I'd love to come on here with a big stick and beat Arsenal players with. I'd love nothing more to do it. But I have to be honest, if it was our way around, do you think Liverpool players would have been celebrating with the away fans and if they had won it because they would have seen it as a massive hurdle in the title race? They would have gone.
I don't think we would have went as mad as that. I think that they're celebrating, but you have to celebrate with dignity as well. And Klopp has been guilty of this too. I just think they're celebrating. I don't like the whole thing with the cameraman. That was a bit annoying.
Well, the problem is Klopp can't have a say in it because he was the one that took Liverpool down to the cup with a 2-2 draw against West Brom. So he will be bit with a stick if he criticises it. So he's not getting involved, but the likes of Carragher was getting involved, and Gary Neville's had his say. I was listening to Talk Sport yesterday; they were having their say on it. But I mean, as fans, if Arsenal had just walked off the pitch yesterday, you would have thought these boys don't care too much about what happens between them and me.
There's a difference, but the way Arteta was running up and down the touchline like a nutcase, like it's one game. He hasn't won the league. Like that was the thing. They was going on as if he won there was a Champions League final. They might have got themselves back into the title race, but they won't win it.
I get that, but the Klopp not pull a hamstring celebrating against a 4-3 winning against Spurs in a meaningless game last year.
He did, but I think that was more to do with the frustration around the refereeing and that. But
the game that as I said, Jota, nobody knows how he stayed on the pitch.
As I say, I'd say Klopp has been guilty of it. I don't like any team over celebrating. Like you have to respect your opponent on the day. Like, and if Liverpool players were going on like that after one game, I wouldn't say right with me to be honest. But they're entitled.
He doesn't have a problem with it. It's their biggest game of the season, and they deserve to win. That's a Liverpool fan.
They deserve to win, but
it has divided a lot of opinion. I just think that it was an easy out. I think there was times last season they probably. I remember there was a game against Fulham. I think it was the 5th or 6th game of the season, and they went really over the top, and I understood that. But this is February. Their season was on the line. They've just beat the league leaders, who have been the most informed team in the country. They've only lost one game since September, and that was a tinted loss in terms of what happened. This was no easy feat. A lot of people, as I said, wrote them off.
The funny thing for me is though, Arsenal are celebrating like that and going mental. We're still above them.
Darren saying they got carried away and it was embarrassing, and that will give Liverpool more energy. We'll see.
I mean, everyone's
entitled to their opinion. By the way, I don't think I'm not Same. My opinion's right. I was just asking, but for me, I didn't really see an issue with it. I'm not Arteta's biggest fan.
No,
But I mean, look, fair play to him. He's went there and he's got a team, and they not just beat Liverpool. They've dominated the game. There wasn't a
it'll
Liverpool
be,
fan. Even the most delusional couldn't have argued they deserve more than what they got on the day.
no, they deserve the one. Like I'm not denying that. I think it'll be a big test for them now if they can go and follow it up against West Ham, because I would assume by the time
That's a difficult game.
by the time that game kicks off, Man City will be, or no, Man City would have won probably, and I'm assuming Liverpool would have beat Burnley, so they'll be back to a 5 point gap. So
You just don't know what Burnley will turn up at Anfield, but they.
nah,
I'm only messing.
there's actually going to be more fans of that game too.
Do you put this down to Liverpool having an off day, or do you put it down to Arsenal, which is too good for Liverpool on the day? And I mean, did Liverpool did they not perform, or did Arsenal stop them from performing?
Probably a bit of both. Like Arsenal
because there is a theme developing amongst Arsenal and Liverpool games now over the last 2 years. Bar maybe the 45 minutes at Anfield last season, where Arsenal have completely dominated Liverpool in all the games. In terms of, they beat them at home last year 3-2, and they probably deserved to won that quite convincingly. The 45 minutes at Anfield, they were on top, and they conceded a goal for half time. Liverpool, to be fair, peppered them second half. This season, the 3 games, Liverpool again. If you look at the 3 games Liverpool played against Arsenal this year, they didn't create much in any of the 3 games. Arsenal really stopped them. I think Carragher did a great piece on Monday Night Football last night. Defensively, they probably are the best in terms of the teams don't get many chances against them. What they don't have in the attacking area, they're making up for it at the back in terms of stopping teams. You look at the FA Cup game. This was a very similar game. Arsenal dominated the first half. The difference was they didn't put the ball in the net. And if you look at it right up until the 80th minute, it was 0-0, an own goal by Kiwior. Better luck for Liverpool, and they caught them in the end. So, I mean, I had the theory that on Friday night when we previewed this game, Liverpool wouldn't be as bad as they were in the FA Cup game. But there is a theme developing that the gap. We used to remember Liverpool Arsenal games. Liverpool used to smash Arsenal. Over the last 2 years, that hasn't been the case. Arsenal have been the dominant team in them games. So is that the worry that the stats are telling you in these one-off games that Arsenal are a better side overall than Liverpool?
It's a different. Well, Arsenal have improved, so you would say this season in the one-off games they have been better in us. But for me, it's just every big game is going to be tough. You're going like there's going to be days we dominate Arsenal dominate us, we dominate all our teams. They're going to dominate. It's just back and forth between these big teams. So I wouldn't read too much on it, but I would like to give them a receipt next season.
It'll be interesting because I said, I mean, if they say about you can't win the league with a striker, but can this Arsenal defense carry them towards the title? Because
nope.
They're not conceding many chances in games. That is the theme. You could argue in some of the games they've conceded goals on. I think over their last 7 or 8 games they've been having 2 shots on target against them, conceding 1 goal.
Yeah.
You would think if they concede, if they keep keeping teams they having 2 shots, they're going to keep a lot of clean sheets.
They will, but I just can't see Arsenal winning.
This is hurting me actually saying this. I'm not at all.
No, but for me, you're probably thinking I'm mad saying it, but for me, even though Arsenal beat us, I still think it's between Liverpool and Man City. I just do, because they have a great defence, but look at the difference in the attacks. I know we had an off day on Sunday, but you have to remember too that we're without probably our best player as well. So when he comes back, we'll be back firing, I would assume. So for me,
I agree, but Arsenal are missing players also. And there was no Jesus, there was no Thomas Partey, who Stefan argues is their best midfielder. Timber, their fullback, has been missing all season. Liverpool were missing more players, but Arsenal wasn't Arsenal's strongest team either. I mean, Jorginho was playing in midfield, and he's a Chelsea reject.
I know, but I just, for me, it's between Liverpool and Man City. Maybe that's just blind loyalty, but I just can't see it.
So where does that defeat leave Liverpool? I mean, 2 points, still in front, but with Man City's won. They're now 2 points behind with a game in hand. I mean, psychologically, do you back Liverpool? They bounce back from that defeat?
I like we don't have any really tough games coming up, do we really? I think we
We're
have
going to be looking at
Burnley
10 games very shortly.
off the top of my head. Obviously, I know we have Burnley the weekend. Then I think it's Brentford. I think, but
Brentford, Luton, and Forest
I
before
would
Man City.
expect it. I've said all along it'll come down to Liverpool Man City on the 10th of March. If we go and win that game, then I'm saying
You don't give Arsenal a snuff?
no. I just don't. I'm sorry. Like, and
Mm.
people can say I'm mad, but I just think Man City and Liverpool are more consistent, and
Mm.
you've seen that they're more consistent
Well,
because
you could say that, but the argument is that over 22, 23 games, there's only 2 points between Liverpool and Arsenal, so they couldn't be that much more consistent.
I. But my point is, you could see Arsenal going. I could see Arsenal going losing to West Ham. I can't see us going to lose to Burnley. It,
Mm.
it, I just
I get you.
maybe I'm still having
I
Arsenal as
actually,
a
I actually agree with you, but I think this is a big game for Arsenal on Sunday. If they were to go to West Ham and won, if you look, I'm going to show you the games coming up, but that is the only one out of the next five I can see them possibly slipping up on.
yeah
I think if they were to go there and one, they're bang on it.
yeah.
United will have a big say in the race. We've Arsenal and Liverpool at home. And
No,
he has a
no.
point. Arsenal and Liverpool don't really enjoy Old Trafford. There has been slip ups there over the years. I know Liverpool maybe over the last couple of years have changed that, but you could always say, especially in Klopp's early years, that was always a difficult one. There was a lot of
I
draws there.
no matter how Liverpool are playing or how United are playing, I never enjoy going to Old Trafford because one, if
And
you lose it,
Arsenal's record at Old Trafford's
uh,
wretched. 1-1 in about 10 years.
I think I think Liverpool's record has actually picked up over the years there because I think we lost there last season,
Mm.
but I don't think we lost there since like before last season for age.
Emmett saying we're missing two players. Nunez over 50 goal contributions. You can tell Nunez when he come off, the ankle injury affected him. Fair enough, they were missing Jesus, but if they had been missing Saka and Martinelli, it may have been a different story. I agree. Arsenal have the bulk of their main players fit, and that was probably that
To
gave them
me,
the
I,
advantage
I
from it.
just I just put it down as an off day for Liverpool because many times this season have we played like that.
Mm. But you could argue in all three games against Arsenal, they were far from their best, and that does point to Arsenal have had an impact in stopping that.
As I say, like as you say, there's only a couple of points on it, but for me, it's still Liverpool or Man City.
Mm.
Probably
Let's
Man
speak
City at
about
this
Man
point.
City because I think everyone was
Yes.
getting a wee bit excited last night when Mopai puts that away. But I was actually watching the game and I was like,
I would like. I
they
said
could score another two goals here, and I still fancy City to won 4-3
I
because the way
I
City
sent
were
you
playing
I
just
sent you a
reminded me
message,
of
but
recent seasons.
I sent you a message when Mopay scored, but I just knew they were going to come back and win
I
there.
mean, probably slightly unfortunate that happens right on the stroke of half time, but I don't think anybody could the goal was coming for a long
Nah.
time. I mean, it was coming from kickoff and they were all over Brentford. There was a couple of breaks, fair enough, from behind. And that's probably where Man City maybe ain't as good as they were last season, as their teams are having a bit more joy in terms of getting at them. But
They can't keep a
they,
clean sheet at the moment.
no, but I mean they've so much firepower at the minute, and De Bruyne
Yeah,
it was
I'm
like a
just
training session. I mean that's what it
I'm
was like
just
last night. I mean when I was watching it last night, it just felt like a Man City training session.
most of their games do, to be fair.
And I
It's
mean
like
at the end, it was that comfortable for the last 15 minutes. They just passed it around.
it's mad though, because as good as Man City are, I don't enjoy watching them. Like
Mm.
even as a
There's a method, isn't it? They're saving their energy, aren't they? They're not running looking for more goals. They're just happy to win the game and
yeah,
comfortable 2 goals ahead,
I
and we'll
think
just pass you death.
to be fair, we'll speak about him now. But Phil Foden just ran that game. I know you're talking about De Bruyne, but Phil Foden was on a different
He was
planet.
the difference maker. He was the difference maker. I mean,
To be
he's
fair, for
having
the
Pep said it's his best season since he's been there. I mean, is that the
probably
worry that the likes of Foden coming on the form, De Bruyne? I mean, Haaland had an off night in front of goal, and he still, he wasn't even, you know, Man City could win this league without Haaland scoring another goal. That's how good they are. I mean, they don't rely on Haaland. They put the ball in the net, even though he scored all them goals last season and he scored a fair few
that,
this year. They've got so many options that Haaland's been missing, and they've won all these games.
that's the scary thought, doesn't it? But I don't know. Maybe it's just me being a Liverpool fan, but I just think that game in Anfield is going to be special for reasons like it could be Klopp and Guardiola's last ever game together. Like so,
Does it
I
worry
don't
you though
know.
at the minute that Man City are clicking and Liverpool they've been playing in spells, but over the last couple of games, there's been too many halves where they haven't turned up. I mean, if they don't turn up in the first half against Man City, you're not going to have much of a chance, are they?
I think Wales being at home though, the crowd won't let
Mm.
that happen. But you're saying I'm not worried about Man City clicking on the form. I'm worried about Man City when they're not in form because they always win anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. But
Emmett's saying even before we got beaten Sunday, he was still convinced City would win it. He says, I'm sick of it every year, and his heart can't take another title. I mean, is that the feeling that amongst Liverpool fans or not? Do you think there's a lot of them loving it? I mean, a lot of Liverpool fans like yourself are being positive, but do you think as there are a lot of Liverpool fans have that horrible feeling that you just get the feeling that Man City are going to be unstoppable?
I mean, the only team I can see stopping City now is us. But it's just every season they give you hope. I know we had that one season, but that season we won the league is always going to be, oh, it was the COVID year, blah 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 blah. So it just, we won the league, but we weren't allowed to celebrate it, and I just think,
That was a different kind of season, but Liverpool,
yeah,
when they've went toe-to-toe with City and these battles have lost out narrowly, they haven't done much wrong.
yeah.
So they haven't got the better of City in a tight race. Arsenal last year fell away in a tight race. It's unlikely now anyone's going to run away with it. It's getting into the nap
You think
and
it'll,
nap race between two or possibly even three
yeah.
teams. Does
You
that
think
favour Man City that they've beat Liverpool twice in these tight races and Arsenal last year?
I like look every season when Pep's there. When you do your preseason predictions, the top four is always going to be Man City first. Like it's just, I think it's just ingrained in their brains. I like, but I like the fact that it's only, obviously I would prefer Liverpool to be about 17 points clear, but
Mm.
I like the fact that it's tight because it's giving you a reason to watch their games. Because last season, even we weren't involved last season, so I didn't really care what Man City did. To be fair, but now I'm when Brentford go 1-0, even though I know they're going to come back and win, that wee part of me was going, "Oh, could they? Could they? Could they?" So it's
I
it's
mean,
it's just
the,
painful.
the the last night's performance show you why City are seen as the favourites, no matter what these other teams do. That you know, if you ask every pundit now, even Liverpool pundits, they'll probably still say City or slight favourites.
I like I generally don't think there's much between Arsenal and Liverpool, and even City this season. I don't think there's much. I think if you take De Bruyne and Haaland out of it, I don't think there's that much difference.
Yeah, I mean, Callum's saying here that Liverpool's 15 left, probably have to win 13 on just to be in the race. Is that how you see it now? Is this going very familiarly? We've seen the first half of the season where teams were quite inconsistent, and we were wondering, well, you might want it with 85, 86. Starting to look like it's going to need 90 plus again.
Nah,
Many ones
not
do you
yet.
think Liverpool? I mean, do you think Liverpool can afford to lose in our game? What way do you see it?
I agree with Callum. I would go even further and say we have to win all our games to have a chance.
Hmm. See, that is
But
the only way Liverpool can win it themselves, isn't it? Right? Because
yep,
if they beat Man City, they would take it back into their own hands.
yeah.
But if I'm reading it right, Man City have 16 games left. If they already won 15 games, draw at Anfield, that's it.
Uh, but
Which isn't easy by any stretch. But if there's any team that can do it, that's Man
I tell you
City.
what, we're talking about celebrations. See if we score. See if we beat Man City. I'll be taking my camera out. Never mind Odegaard. But I don't know. I don't know what you think. Do you think if we beat Man City, then Liverpool won it, or would you still say Man City are favourites?
It depends
Because
on the performances. At the
I,
minute, I'm not sure if Liverpool are capable of winning 15 in a row or even 14 in a draw. At the minute, I see Liverpool maybe potentially winning 11, maybe
I,
drawing, maybe
I,
drawing 3 or 4 on there, and that's the worry. Maybe I think Liverpool will be tough to beat, even that
yeah.
Man City game. But I think Man City will be happy enough going to Anfield, and if they walk away with a draw, they'll think, well, in the other 14 games, I fancy us to take more points than Liverpool, and that's the worry that the draws could be Liverpool's downfall. I'm not sure.
As it often is with Man City, because
Mm.
that season we done. I think it was that season John Stones cleared it off the line by
They
that
only
much.
lost 2 games, didn't they, all
Uh,
season?
and this season we've only lost two, so it's just
Uh,
it feels like Groundhog Day.
well, that's what Emmett's in here, and thanks for the comments. Plenty of comments, so keep them coming on. We'll put them up on the screen. He says it is. You only said it is hard to watch because 99% of the time you know what's going to happen. They're going to win, and that's insufferable. I mean, do you worry about the players? If Man City keep dragging out wins every week, they're going to get the feeling that it's just going to go like every other year, and they lose heart. I mean, or do you think that'll be a motivating them? I mean, how do you see it?
I don't worry about the players because obviously we have the extra motivation of trying to do it for Klopp in his last season. So I wouldn't worry about the players. And to be fair, if we don't win the league, we still have 3 trophies they play for. Like, so it's not all doom and gloom. And as I seen on
sorry, go ahead.
I seen on social media, like, there was Liverpool fans saying, oh, if you offer me this 2 points to clear Man City in February at the start, I would have put your hand off. So.
I think the problem as now, it's difficult to get away from the narrative of we weren't supposed to be in a title race. Arsenal had that same thing last year. We were only supposed to get back in the top 4. Kind of like Liverpool fans were sort of saying at the start of the season, we just make sure to get back in the top 4. Once you're in this position, there is going to be disappointment if Liverpool finish 2 points behind Man City. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
If we don't win it, for me, it'll come down to them 2 draws against United and Arsenal.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, was that where Liverpool slept on a bit? That was a chance they get, put City under huge pressure when they were coming back from that World Cup, and they came back in a better position than they left.
I like if we had won them 2 games against United and Arsenal, I think we would be in a great position now. But as we'll go back to it, it's the draws that always seem to catch Liverpool. We've drawn against Luton this season. We've drawn against Brighton.
Right.
Who else? United and Arsenal. I can't remember off the top of my head who else. But I think we've drawn 7 games or 6 games, something like that.
Too many, isn't it? We drew away at Chelsea in the opening day of the season.
That's right, there.
Looking at that looks a bad one. Considering what they did at Anfield. I mean, I was listening to the commentary last night, and Man City have a fully fit. They haven't got one injury. They've got everyone back and fit. Is that the worry that Liverpool seem to be losing players left, right, and centre? Arsenal are struggling to get certain players fit. I mean, it's difficult to compete with Man City if you've got everybody fit. Never mind if Liverpool's missing half their midfield and City's sitting there with Grealish didn't even get on last time for Man City.
As much as I've said, like, we can bring on Elliott in games. They can bring on Grealish if they want to. They can bring on De Bruyne for 45. They can bring on Bernardo Silva. They have an embarrassment of riches, and
aren't saying all comes down to Anfield. I'm telling you now, right? If Liverpool won 14 games, draw at Anfield, and don't win the league, that will be seriously tough to take. I mean, if because Man City won every one of their games, I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll come down to that game.
Do you think City will pull away before that game?
I can see City dropping points here or there. There'll be a game somewhere, a draw, maybe not a defeat, but a draw somewhere. Liverpool the same. I don't think it's going to be 15, 16 straight ones. I really don't. I think Man City are in the Champions League as well. They're going to have an eye on that. There's the FA Cup to be playing for. Liverpool the same. It's very hard going Thursday, Sunday when it gets deep in that. So I still think there'll be points dropped here and there. I'll be shocked if it comes down to if we're sitting in March and it's decided there that's where I can't see both teams winning every single game after that day. I think there'll be drop points somewhere. Man City have to go to Spurs. That'll not be easy. Man City have to play Arsenal at home. Liverpool have to play United away. They're all games. Everton away is not going to be easy because that's a derby. Seeing how how the fans are. These games aren't easy.
I just want it wrapped up one way or another before the last day of the season because I cannot take another last day of it. No, I still have scars from that Coutinho 2-0 Villa.
Emmett's saying he's a wee bit worried about the likes of Nunez, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Endo, Gravenberch having no experience of being in a title race.
I mean, you just have to sort of block out them sort of noise, don't you? And let the well, to be fair, Nunez does have some sort of experience. I think he's won the league with Benfica. I know it's different.
Totally different. Danny's saying City have a tough few weeks. Have to go to Anfield, play United, Arsenal, Brighton, and Villa. If they take 12 out of 15, the title will be theirs. Plenty of debate tonight. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to look at Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal's games before that week, just up to that 10th of March.
Apologies for my cough.
Before we do this, no, you're right. I had it last week too.
Mhm.
I mean, you still maintaining 2 teams, not 3 teams. That's your consensus,
I still,
right?
I'm surprised Stefan's not in the comments tonight. I was expecting him to be roasting me all podcast.
Well, I think he's working. I think that's why you've got off late. He'll be watching it back. Don't you'll hear from him again. No doubt about it. Let's look at Liverpool first because they are top of the league. And that's maybe what's got lost here. They still are top, although Man City are probably not top because they have played a game less, but we'll come to that. They do play that game and amongst these games. So Liverpool have 4 games before they take on Man City at Anfield on the 10th of March. Currently first on 51 points. Burnley at home, Brentford away, Luton at home, Forest away. It's not overly difficult, but they're definitely, if Liverpool are missing players, Brentford away and Forest away are potential tough games in terms of you never see teams go to Brentford and Forest and hit them for 4 or 5. It seems to be watertight, one goal, maybe the all-time 1-2. Even Man City, as we says, it was comfortable in the end, but they were 1-0 down right up until the last kick of the first half. Forest away, you know what they're going to do. You see what they did at Arsenal. They put everybody behind the ball, and it was really tough. Burnley at home and Luton at home, I know Luton's been on a bit of an up, but I think at home, Liverpool definitely won them. Is it imperative that is it imperative that Liverpool don't drop any points in them games going into Man City?
We have to win them all. I know Brentford away and Forest away are tricky, but I'd still expect us to go there and get 6 points.
I think they're the type of games where you don't care if it goes on somebody's backside as long as you win the game.
I was saying the same when we played Bournemouth away a few weeks ago. I know we sort of trounced them in the end, but I think for me it's 12 points. It has to be 12 points.
The thing is, with all them 4 teams, and we're probably not quite there yet, but all them 4 teams are fighting. Burnley need to start getting points on the board, or they're going to be gone pretty soon. Brentford and Forest are in the relegation battle because they can't win games of football.
Forest could be getting the points too.
Luton, despite how well they've been doing, are still hovering just above the bottom 3. So all them 4 teams obviously are down there for a reason. They're obviously not that good, but they're all teams that are they have something to play for. Whereas if you're playing a team like maybe Fulham, Bournemouth, these teams now coming on the March-April time, the flop-flops aren't far from going on, because they've met their objective as we've stayed in the league.
No, I'm gonna say Liverpool won the most. I'm gonna say 12 points. If I added it.
Gallon saying Brentford, not the team of old. They're shipping a lot of goals. Forest only definitely good game for me. Have to take 4-1s as a necessity.
Yep.
I do agree. I think Forest away is the toughest because you know how they are a team that are, especially under Nuno, they've been good on the counter attack and they've been good at soaking up pressure.
I know you're saying Burnley have something to play for, but I think they're gone. No matter what they do.
I'll be shocked if they dropped any points at home. And then 6 points.
To be honest, I think we might get on that. I don't know if we're talking about the games coming up, but I wouldn't be surprised if we give Burnley a good hiding.
Well, the way Burnley play too, they don't sit back the way they try and take teams on. Let's look at Man City's games. Now they have an extra game on here before that Liverpool game on the 10th of March. Currently on 49 points, and the worrying thing here is they 4 of these 5 at home. And they don't. I mean, Spurs and Liverpool we're stop that run. I think Palace got a bit of a fluke draw. They were cruising, and Man City sort of did something we aren't used to doing. And I think that draw by Palace is the only game they haven't won in all competitions in their last 9 or 10 games. Yeah. So they've been pretty solid. I mean, Everton at home, Chelsea at home, Brentford at home, 3 home games in a row. Brentford being the game in hand, Bournemouth away, and Man United at home. Now you look at the likes of, there's some big names on there, the likes of Chelsea and United at home.
I'll have my Man United top on.
It's not the Chelsea and Man United of old. What do you say? You'll have United top on?
Have me United top on that day. No, wouldn't
not the Chelsea and United of old. No. Everton are a different team, I think, away from home. I know they've had some success in a row, but they just seem to me like it's much harder to go to Goodison.
As you found out at the weekend.
Time it was a nightmare, tight pitch, fans crying for everything. Fair play to them. They got a result and they probably deserved it. Chelsea at home. Chelsea's in disarray.
I
Brentford at home, which we seen we did at the Brentford last night. Bournemouth away. Bournemouth are at their best, can definitely trouble them, but they're very open, and that's going to suit City.
no, I
And
would say
United at home. United have got the best record. I know since Ollie's left, they're going to Man City anyway. I'm one, so
I would say Man City will get
City beat them 6-3 last year. And Ten Hag's record in the big games away from home's terrible. So I mean, do you see any slip ups there from Man City?
No, sadly not. I'm going to say 15. Sadly,
Everton, Bournemouth, and United potential slip ups. Everton going to Man City and stopping them. I don't see that at all. Bournemouth, I could say possibly away. United at home. Sorry, I just don't see it. United's turned a bit of a corner, but City at home are too strong. Just big pitch suits Man City at home too. I was shocked if anything. I mean, let's be honest. The games they drew at home, them 3 in a row they drew. Liverpool, Spurs, and Palace. They threw them games away. They were cruising. And they took their foot off, I guess. They let Liverpool on. They let Spurs on.
Wolves, didn't they? But that was away, wasn't it?
That was away. They lost the Wolves. But them there was 3 home games in a row where and then Palace game they shot themselves in the foot. But I mean, if City the attitude's right, I just don't see them dropping any points at home.
No,
I would say if anything, it's going to be Bournemouth, but
you just can't see it.
not as such. You just can't see it.
No.
Let's look at the team we say have absolutely no chance. They have 49 points, 2 points behind Liverpool. West Ham away, Burnley away, Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away, and Brentford at home. Now, you'd probably say West Ham away as a banana skin.
That's
Burnley away. Burnley away, I think they'll win there. Newcastle at home. Newcastle just aren't convincing me at the moment. They're conceding far too many goals. Sheffield United, in my opinion, are absolutely gone. We've seen that. I mean, on Saturday they were smashed at home by Villa, and Brentford at home as well. They said not the same Brentford. I mean, if they were to beat West Ham, they could be in a very strong position if they won them 4 games, and let's say Liverpool and Man City play out a draw.
They could be, but
and that takes you up to the middle of March. So again, they would be, in a very strong position come that time.
And then Arsenal still have to play Spurs, I believe, as well.
Man City away and Spurs away and Man United away. 3 big away ones.
I'm gonna stick my neck out. I'm gonna say they draw with West Ham, but they won every Arsenal.
So again, you still see it as Liverpool. How do you see Liverpool City going on the 10th of March? I know it's a bit away.
I'm gonna predict Liverpool scab.
Would you take a draw at home, they City, just to stay in it, or do you think it's a must-win?
No, if we draw, they've won it. If we win, we have a chance. So I'm gonna say we scab a 1-1.
Let's look back at the rest of the weekend's games. All kicked off on Saturday at 12:30. Quite an entertaining game between Everton and Spurs. As we always say, Spurs tend to be involved in these entertaining games. Not great for the fans sometimes. Great for the fans sometimes, not always. I mean, you mentioned there Son's back this weekend, and I stuck that in there because that's quite significant. I think that's a massive boost.
Who's playing this
hopefully
weekend?
He's on Brighton at home. Now, hopefully he's played a lot of football. He's played every minute for South Korea plus 2 extra times, so he's had a lot of football. So
could be tired.
He could be tired, but I mean, that game on Saturday had a very familiar feel to it for me. I just got into the last 5. You just had a feeling Everton were going to nick it, and not so much down to Everton brilliance, more down to Spurs stupidity and lack of experience, petulance, giving away cheap free kicks.
How many times have we said that this season? Spurs giving away when
will the penny drop? But you just can't give teams like Everton 24, 25 chances. They put the ball on top of the goalkeeper.
I just think it's the way he's play. Like, he's an emotional team. He's feel like he's have to go on for every challenge. As soon as Kulusevski gave away that free kick, I said to myself, "There's a goal here. There's a goal here." I just knew. When they were checking for offside, and I was like, "No, they're going to get away with it." But no, to be fair, I thought
I think Everton were deserved their draw, to be honest.
And we'll speak about it.
Spurs didn't do enough.
No, they didn't do enough, but one man, Spurs started off electrically, and Richarlison is continuing his goal scoring form.
You're going to come back to bite you. He couldn't have a barn door early on the season. He's had 10 in
to,
his last 8.
to be fair, I don't think I was the only one. No, he's been in great form, which it had sort of come at a good time for you because we saw him being away. It'd be interesting to see how Ange sets up going forward because that Timo Werner boy he is an awful footballer. So I
I think
think
they're really light with it at the minute going forward. Like I think Son's been a huge miss.
yeah,
If you take out Richarlison's goals, this would have been a massive struggle if
yeah,
we saw away. Richarlison, as you say, stepped up at a brilliant time for Spurs. Who knows? For me, I don't see that lasting the whole way to May. So Son is going to be needed.
yeah.
Madison's looked good since he come back, but I think they're
He was.
having problems in midfield, especially in these away games now. Too many draws where the likes of Højbjerg, Skip, just not technical enough on these tight pitches. They play around a press. I think Basuma's back as well. Malaga beat Sar, just come off the bench, starting to get their full strength midfield back. And I think it's the way Ange plays. I think you need them players in midfield that are able to move the ball quickly.
I agree with you, but I think Madison has just been he just kicked on where he was before he got injured. So I think he assisted one of the goals, didn't he? Even though it was like
He said two assistants to come back already.
it was like a wee layoff for Richarlison's second goal, which was a great strike. I seen a lot of people, me included. I thought Pickford could have done better, but when you watch it, then it's like there's not really much he could have done.
Emmett saying if Spurs hadn't dropped 10 points, they'd only be 5 behind Liverpool. They'll fancy Spurs to get into the top 4 ahead of Villa. I mean, I've seen some crazy stats this week involving Spurs, right? They've dropped, I think, the second or third most points from winning positions, but they're second or third from losing positions or turning games around. So they tend to be flip-floppy games. They're scoring a lot of last-minute goals in games. They're conceding a lot of last-minute goals in games. I mean, they're hard to get a read on. It's very inconsistent. It's inconsistent stats in terms of, there's games they look great, and in our games they look really shit. I thought Richarlison was very good, Madison was very good, but Spurs' was man of the match. I thought was Van de Ven, and how can he be your man of the match away at Everton?
He's frightening quick, which is every time an Everton player was getting away from.
The Liverpool must out there with Van de Ven. They got that deal done. Perfect replacement for Van Dijk, wouldn't it?
To be fair, I would have took him, but well, it's a weird one because your defense is good, but you are conceding a lot of goals too.
And Emmett's been great for the neutral. It is. But I think that'll come a point next year. It'll come a point next year for me if them games are still as mad that there's no real path to sustainability. If Spurs get into the top 4, which I think they have a great chance of doing, I don't think they can get much higher playing the way they are. I think they're going to have to sort that out. Whether that's in terms of personnel or adjusting the style.
I just can't see Ange adjusting his style, but he didn't adjust it when he went down to 9 men against Chelsea, so I don't think he's going to adjust it.
I don't mean completely, but I mean maybe making it a wee bit more secure. I mean maybe that's I think Sar and Basuma mustn't have been massive. If you think about it, they basically for a long way there they were missing that whole midfield with Basuma, Sar away at the African Cup of Nations, and Madison being injured. They haven't really had that free they had at the start of the season.
As Emmett said there, but when you sit down to watch a Spurs game, you're like, right, get the popcorn out. There's going to be some madness. So
fireworks.
I agree with you, but if he's keep doing that next season, I don't think he's going to get much higher than 5th,
4th. Villa has 5 at Bramble Lane. I know Villa haven't been in the greatest form, but I didn't expect them to slip up here. Slightly surprised at the scoreline. They were 4 up after about 20 minutes. Should we read too much into that? Or Villa on the way back, or did they just meet a really poor side?
I think Sheffield United have just given up. I think you're talking about you mentioned about Liverpool. Like if Man City keep winning, will it affect our players? It just seems to be that Sheffield United players they've just checked out. They're ready to head back down to the Championship.
You feel there was an initial bounce on their Wilder, but that's gone now. It's just back to how it was.
I wouldn't sack Wilder though. I would let him try and take him back up from the Championship.
I don't see what an hour change would do. I think they're stuck. They haven't got the players, as you say. I don't think there's a lot of belief. How do you see it between Spurs and Villa? Villa 2 points ahead of Spurs. who finishes higher. They both play each other now. Funny enough, on the 10th of March, it's the warm up game for
No.
Liverpool Man City.
I'll be,
Villa being
I'll
at
be
home,
with you.
but they have looked a bit more vulnerable at Villa Park in recent
Yeah.
games. So it
They've
maybe
United
isn't
at the weekend.
it isn't the daunting task it looked maybe a few weeks ago going there. And Spurs will take confidence from the fact when they played Villa this year, they should have won the game, shouldn't they? So how
I
do you see it between them two? Who can you see being the more consistent between now and May?
I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I would love it to be Villa just because funny. But no, I think Spurs will nick it. I think it'll be like 2 points on it, but I think Spurs will finish
I think it
fourth.
favours Spurs that Villa could go deep in Europe. They're still in the FA Cup now. They're playing Chelsea in the replay on Wednesday night. But I fancy they won that. But regardless, I think they'll have a lot of they'll see what West Ham last year and they'll think we've got a real chance of winning that,
Yeah.
and that could possibly cost them.
But then
But
if
they can still
Villa,
end up fifth. They can still end up fifth and getting it anyway. Well, we don't
I
know
was
that at the
I
end of the
was
season.
I was just going to come on that if Villa finish fourth, it could still be Champions League, and they have a
I,
big game
I,
coming.
I'll be very disappointed from this position now. We one game a week with everyone fit. If Spurs don't finish at least fourth, I
And
think it would be very. I
as you,
mean, it would be very underwhelming considering what we've seen all season. If they weren't, they get fourth.
as you say too, Villa, they've had that great record at home, but they don't seem to be as consistent now coming into the stretch of the season. So I would say Spurs will just about get over the line.
Mm. United back in form. I mean,
Uh,
great one over West Ham. They've had some
Brilliant,
great results recently.
class.
I mean, are they an outside chance of top four? I think they're eight behind Villa, six behind Spurs. Villa have to play Spurs in the next couple of weeks. Although United have some difficult games coming up as well.
They have Villa
Can you
now at
see
the weekend.
United being Can you see United being consistent enough? What's that? If they beat Villa, they could be, But I think they're in a
I,
position because they've got quite a few points they make up.
uh,
They can't afford
it's-
too many slip ups. Can you see them being consistent between now and May?
no, I just think they've left it too late. They hit form, and we've seen
You think
already.
sixth is as good as it'll get?
I think sixth. And if they get that, I think it'll be not a good season. But from where they were, like at points this season, I thought they were going to be bottom half nearly. They were playing that bad, but
Will,
it all
will
comes.
Ten Hag survive if they finish sixth? But
I even if I think he's gone in the summer, I just think they want their own man. And for me, I just think they left it too late, as I say. And as I said, I think they have to keep their key players fit. And we've seen already Martinez is out now for 2 months again. So
I've seen that.
I
I
actually
mean,
thought
one
at the
team
time it was a ACL injury, but it doesn't seem
there
to
was
be.
a fear factor around that, but that didn't prove to be. But still, a significant loss for at least 2 months. I tell you what, one team that would bite your hand off for sixth place is Chelsea. Smashed at
Oh,
home, two goals, 4-2.
I love
Pressure's
it.
on. We're hearing that he's possibly Poch is going to be okay to end the season. And they may because they don't really see they've seen what changed the manager last year had no real effect. If
Just
Chelsea
don't,
brings somebody in now as an interim, the players know he's not going to be there long term.
just don't
We've
second it
heard.
for the cup final.
I mean, how do you see this whole situation at the moment? Because a lot of the Chelsea fans are screaming for Poch to be sacked. But what would that change if he was sacked? Because they're still stuck with the
Um,
same players, not doing it, not performing on these long-term contracts. I mean,
I
they've tried Potter, they've tried Lampard. Tuchel was struggling before he gets sacked.
yeah.
Ever since that
Um,
new ownership's come on, that Chelsea dugout's been a poison chalice for whoever manager sat in that chair. They're talking
I
about bringing Mourinho back. That's the fans who the fans want. But I just don't see how Mourinho would work with these young, unexperienced players. It's just not his MO.
no. That's I said at the start of the season when my first podcast we were talking about when I don't know if you remember we were talking about when Caicedo and Lavia went to Chelsea. I said at the time these big contracts for these big players if it doesn't work out right they could be in bar and we've seen too in the last week or so they could be more baller with FFP. It's just as you say it's a poison chalice. They've had Potter, Lampard twice. Um, they've had uh what do you call 'em? Potter and Tuchel, as you say, no matter who comes on, it just seems to be they start off well for the first 2 or 3 games and just goes recycles back to the way they are. And
Darn thinks he could be gone come the summer. I mean, you look at someone like Pochettino. very experienced manager, fairly highly rated before this Chelsea job. And you look at someone like Gary O'Neill, he went in there and the Wolves in such a mess and got them turned around very quickly. No
Yep.
pre-season. And even from the first game of the season, away at United, they've been playing well all season. Of course, they've had a few hiccups here and there. They've had off days.
Yep.
Wolves have been largely consistent. Gary O'Neill's got them playing great football. They were one of the lowest scorers in the league last year, scoring loads of goals. Why do you think managers at Chelsea are struggling to have an impact from the start?
I just think it comes from above them. I honestly don't think the manager has as much control as
Hodge
we
doesn't
as
look happy, does he?
no.
He doesn't look
Sure,
like he's enjoying it.
he said before the Chelsea Spurs game that he can imagine himself managing Spurs again one day. So and that did not go down well with the Chelsea fans. And as you were saying there, I've seen it myself, where Chelsea fans are saying bring Mourinho back, but what would he do with a group of inexperienced players? I know
I
we
think
had the
Mourinho's going to Anfield in the summer. I think that's the problem.
don't no. We
Newcastle Luton. We'll finish off talking about this because that was probably the most thrilling game of the weekend. It was crazy, bonkers game. I watched it from start to finish, and Luton were fantastic, but just give away too many soft goals. I think the worrying thing for Newcastle is they just cannot stop conceding goals. From a team that was watertight last year, they're leaking like a cobbler this year.
That's the big difference for Newcastle and their defense this year. They've had a lot of injuries, but I think their defense this year has just been awful. But for Luton, like everyone read them off at the start of the season, and they've just been fantastic. Watch it.
I didn't write them off. Remember, we did our mid-season predictions at Christmas. I backed them; they stay up, and I'm sticking by them.
I think for Luton they stay up. It all depends on what happens with Everton.
I think Sheffield United and Burnley are definitely gone. I think any one of the other teams up the Palace could go down. Palace, Forest, Brentford.
So if you were to
seen them five,
if you were to say your bottom three now, then who would it be?
Well, I told you at Christmas who it was. It says Sheffield United last, Burnley 19th, and it says Brentford, and I'm sticking by Brentford because I think if Ivan Toney doesn't score, I'm struggling to see. I know Mope's chipped on me a few, but they're leaking goals as well. Brentford are conceding. The other team that look really precarious the minute Crystal Palace, especially with Elise's injury. There's unrest between the board, the fans, the manager. They're not all pulling in the same direction. And if Elise is out and Eze doesn't stay fit, Palace are really, really going to struggle.
It's for me. My bottom three now is Burnley, Sheffield United. I'm going to say Palace. I think they're gone.
Palace.
Well, getting back to this game, it was just like a basketball game, wasn't it? It was like in the end.
Well, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Let's look what's coming up now. Not a lot of no Premier League this midweek. We were spoiled last week. Of course, I was at the Tottenham Stadium for an entertaining game, which is free too. But there is probably the big game of the midweek action is probably at Villa Park tomorrow night. 8 o'clock on ITV. 8 o'clock on ITV. Villa taking on Chelsea in the fourth round replay. The winner will actually play the winner of Leeds and Plymouth tonight. So a favourable enough draw for whoever wins this game, and they'll look at it as a path into the quarterfinal. Who do you think is the favourites for this game?
Villa,
possibly.
Villa are the favourites for me. With being at home, with how bad Chelsea were. Another thing on Poch before we continue, I heard his press conference and he said, "Oh, it's all about Chelsea lost, but when Liverpool lost against Arsenal, you barely heard anything." And I went, "Yes, because we've only lost 2 games all season, and you have lost more than you've won." So I think that adds to the pressure too. Like he's just.
I think sometimes he's still not the most fluent in English, and he mixes his words because I think he says something about he got misquoted or something. And I apologize for that today. Something about needing new players or something.
They need more than new players, but I honestly, if he goes here now, say
can you see any other result than Villa winning this game?
Not for me. No, I think Villa won comfortably. I'm going to say 3-0 Villa. I just fancy Villa with a home court.
Well, if they get beat 3-0, he's under severe pressure. What did Chelsea have? I'm just going to check now. What did Chelsea have between now and this cup final? Because if he loses every game before it, I'm not sure they're going to stick.
I think I'll have a wee joke here, but
I'm just going to check. If Crystal Palace away next Monday night, which won't be easy because it's a night game away at Selhurst, which is Palace aren't great. Chelsea, that'll still be tough. Um, and that's it.
I
Sorry, no, they play one more game. Sorry, they play on the
Spurs
17th.
because I
No, the
know.
Spurs game is postponed because of the cup final.
See, that's a weird one because our game against Luton's going ahead before the cup final.
Oh, they've Man City away, so that's their two games.
So
They've got Palace away and Man City away before the cup final, and this game. So they've
so
got three away games before Wembley now.
I you
If he
can't
was
see
to
him.
lose all three of them games, I'm not sure he would survive to the cup final.
I mean, if he don't beat
Imagine,
Palace,
just imagine at Jose's first game, the League Cup
uh,
final he didn't get at Spurs, he gets at Chelsea.
I'd be sick.
I mean, that's
But
not beyond the realms. I mean, sometimes football can have a funny way of writing history. I mean,
I
you'll
just
never hear the. I mean, if that does happen and Poch is sacked after the Man City game and
do you
Mourinho
think
comes in, I
do you
mean,
think Mourinho
personally,
will
I
come
will
back to
be
Chelsea?
praying. What's that?
Do you think Mourinho will come back to Chelsea?
100% he would.
Even the
He wants a
misfits?
big job, and that's a big job. If Mourinho was to come back and that was his first game in the cup final, I would be praying for Liverpool one because you'll never hear that. He'll never stop digging out Spurs.
uh,
Um, but
well,
I
they
feel
are.
Poch needs to get a result before that cup final, or he may not find himself in charge.
I think the cup final's buying him time though. I think if they didn't have the cup
But
final, I think it'd be,
realistically, that's their only way of having a half decent, successful season is winning that trophy because they're not going to. I think Europe at the minute's looking maybe a seventh is probably as high as they could get. But I mean,
it's if they don't beat Palace on Monday night, I think he could be on serious pressure. And
because you can't see them going to Man City and getting anything other than that, other than comfortably beaten.
no, although I will be supporting them in that game. Like I will hope that they decide to turn around. But no, I can't see him. Mourinho finish. Can't see him.
Mourinho finished.
No, I think he wants a club. But as I said on Sunday, do you see if he steps foot anywhere near Anfield? But
Before we
no,
move on to the Premier League, looking ahead, what games are coming up this week? Who would you like to see as the new Liverpool manager in the summer?
uh well,
Not who you think it'll be. Who would you like it to be?
well, for me, I said obviously we know who I think it's going to be, but for me, if anything was on the table, I would go for Carlo Ancelotti. But obviously that's not going to happen. So I think it will be Xabi Alonso.
He
But
as a former Everton manager.
I know if we had that
You
discussion,
said to me you would never have a former United manager managing. So what's the difference between having a former Everton manager?
because I know Everton's our local derby, but Everton they're insignificant to Liverpool, to be honest. Whereas United, we're always fighting with them. But for
And
me,
that's Alonso.
I
Has
like
Alonso done enough in the game to be given the Liverpool job? If the criteria is they put up a title challenge to Bayern Munich, now there's no guarantee they're going to win that. Interestingly, they play each other this weekend. Leverkusen are 2 points ahead, but if they were to lose that game, you would very unlikely they're going to win the league. So I mean, if it's they finish second to Bayern Munich, if that's the criteria for the Liverpool job, I mean, surely Liverpool should be aiming higher. I would be seriously concerned with a manager of that limited experience. I mean, if this had been 2 years ago, Gerrard may have been the man. And look how Gerrard's done since. Is that the worry that you're backing Alonso off 1 year in management?
it could be, but it just seems to be that that's who we're steering towards.
If
So
Xavi was a former Man United player, Alonso, would he even be considered for this job?
Liverpool job,
Yeah.
probably not because of the United thing.
If he was a former Chelsea player, then I don't think so. I think he has been purposely targeted because of he's doing well at the moment,
I
and he's a
think he was.
former Liverpool player.
I think he was always earmarked as a possible Liverpool manager in the future. But I just think this whole Klopp news, like I don't think nobody expected Klopp to be leaving in the summer. So
I get there's not a raft of managers out there that jumps
yeah,
out, but I would just worry for Liverpool that this is a massive job following Klopp. We've seen how it happened at Ferguson with United, Wenger, Emery, and I know maybe Liverpool's in a better state. They are in a better state in terms of what's stable,
yeah,
but it still could unravel pretty quickly.
I could, but I would expect the complete lack of
Complete
options.
lack of options. All the typical experienced managers have an outdated style of play, so limited options.
Yeah.
It's about how Leverkusen are playing. It's not just about them being an ex-Liverpool player. It's a style of football. That Gerrard don't have a good style of football. Rangers, but they were playing really good football.
I know, but it's a different standard. Leverkusen, the Rangers.
Well, we'll see. Only time will tell. Maybe I'll have to hold my
I
hands up
think
and apologize if Alonso comes on and
I think
beat
it'll be
Gerrard.
done before. I think it'll be done before the end of the season. See if we play Leverkusen in the Europa League final, but I'll be sitting behind the sofa going, "What the hell are you here?"
Well, you'll support Liverpool, of course, but
Nah.
let's look at the head. We'll finish off looking ahead at the weekend games. Owen, quick fire predictions for you because I will be going through these games in more depth on the show later in the week. But what we'll do is we'll just ask you quickly.
Yep.
Also off on Saturday afternoon, 12:30, Man City take on Everton. How do you see that go?
3-0 Man City.
Fulham, Bournemouth,
1-1.
Liverpool, Burnley,
4-0 Liverpool.
4-0. Liverpool back that bang.
I think we'll pipe them. Before we
When's
lose.
Salagy back? Brentford.
I haven't heard anything. I've just seen him post on Instagram stories of him being topless in the gym. So that's what he's.
Well,
that's what he.
coming anywhere the pitch, does it?
Aye, but it makes me happy. Good looking man.
Luton against Sheffield United, big game at the bottom.
Luton 2-0.
Spurs, Brighton. That'll be an entertaining game because we know how Brighton play.
I'm gonna go.
Brighton actually won the reverse game 4-2, didn't they? Was that mad? Spurs could have been 6 down and then they could have won 6-4. It was nuts.
I'm gonna go 3-2 Spurs. I think there'll be goals in this one too.
Game of the weekend, do you think?
Probably. Villa United could be good as well.
Wolves, Brentford.
2-0 Wolves.
5:30, Forest against Newcastle.
With Forest being at home, I'll go.
I think that's the Forest. Forest will do well, you know.
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
Super Sunday's quite interesting this week. 2:00, West Ham, Arsenal.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Villa, Man United. 4:30.
2-2.
Monday Night Football, Crystal Palace against Chelsea.
1-0 Chelsea. I think that'll be an awful watch.
Wow, right. Come on, you Spurs. Somebody's spammed on the chat. Paul the Euro. Good to have you watching, Paul.
Is that your burner account, eh?
I was on my phone there, to be fair. But no, definitely not. He's saying 3-1 Spurs. God, we love that. We're pretty strong at home, which is only a good thing. Owen, thanks for coming on. Well, interesting games ahead. Getting under that business end of the season.
Hopefully, this is the last time coming on with a Liverpool defeat.
Well, you'll be happy if you're on plenty more times without having to talk about Liverpool defeat.
But if you can't come on when you lose, don't come on when you win. That's my philosophy.
100%. I mean, not too many big clashes between now and that Liverpool game. I think a lot of the teams don't play. They either played each other or they play each other towards the end. So I think a lot of them top teams, we say, expecting to pick up a lot of points.
You would say Chelsea Man City is a big game, wouldn't you? But not in the way the two teams are playing.
So we'll be doing some big content up to that Liverpool Man City game, the week of that game. So stay tuned for that next month. I'll be back on. Sorry, go ahead.
When that City Liverpool game comes up, see the week leading up to that, I'll be a bag of eggs.
What was I going to say? So I'll be back on Thursday. They look ahead to the weekend's games. Not I say no glamour game, but there is some big ones in there. West Ham, Arsenal, Villa United. That Super Sunday looks pretty interesting. Before we go, Owen, I'll give you another chance to call out your channel. I know you've been off recently, but you're hoping to get back this week. I'll just put it up in the comments here, but if you want to speak about it before we come off.
It's called the Anfield Road. It's mainly Liverpool. It's mainly Liverpool based, but I will be doing the big games too in the Premier League, and I'll be doing a lot of Euro content. I'll do the Champions League when that comes up as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to get a Burnley preview out this week. So stay tuned for that.
And so that's up there. I'll be out there at Owen Kelly, Anfield Road. So if you type on the YouTube, you'll see a lot of Liverpool match previews, match reaction. which will be coming up towards the end of the season. Between now and the end of the season. Oh, and thanks for coming on. If you're new around here, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. We'll see you on Thursday.